So good evening. My topic is the continuation of the previous reporter. Why do firms make acquisition? So, in the beginning of the chapter, we noted that an acquisition describes the purchase or takeover of one company by another. So why do firms make acquisitions? There are three main reasons that stand out. The first one is to gain access to new markets and distribution channels. In this, firms may develop their influence to operate to new markets. Also, they will have more connection with other business. Second one is to gain access to a new capability or competency. Firms may discover through acquisition the capability or competency of their organization by acquiring their strength and weakness. The last one is prempt rivals. Firms acquire to gain sustainable advantage by improving solutions, systems, and structure within the organization. Firms sometimes make acquisition to overcome entry barriers. Merging with competitors can allow firms to gain access to new markets and distribution channels. Strategy Highlight 9.1 discusses Kraft's acquisition of Cadbury to tap into new distribution channels in both the US and fast-growing international markets. In 2010, Kraft Foods bought its UK competitor Cadbury plc for close to $20 billion in a hostile takeover. Unlike the more diversified food products company Kraft, Cadbury was focused solely on candy and gum. Hailing back to 1824, Cadbury established itself in markets across the globe, in concert with the British Empire. Kraft was attracted to Cadbury due to its strong position in countries such as India, Egypt, and Thailand, and in fast-growing markets in Latin America. Cadbury held 70% of the market share for chocolate in India. With more than 1 billion people, children specifically asked for Cadbury chocolate instead of just a plain chocolate. It is difficult for outsiders like Kraft to break into emerging economies because earlier entrants have developed and perfected their distribution system to meet the needs of millions of small independent vendors. To secure a strong strategic position in these fast-growing emerging markets, therefore, Kraft felt that horizontal integration with Cadbury was critical. Kraft continues to face formidable competitors in global markets, including Nestle and Mars, which is especially strong in China, where its famous Snicker bar was the official chocolate of the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing. In the US market, the Cadbury acquisition allows Kraft greater access to convenience stores, gives it a new distribution channel, and opens a market for it that is growing fast and tends to have high profit margins. To achieve a stronger strategic position in the domestic market, Kraft has to compete with the Hershey Company, the largest US chocolate manufacturer. This battle is intense because Hershey's main strategic focus is on the domestic market, with the US population growing slowly and becoming more health conscious. However, Hershey decided to enter the Chinese market in 2013, the world's fastest growing candy market. Since its founding in 1894, Hershey's entry to China is the company's first new product launch outside the United States. With Hershey's attention on China, Kraft could have a window of opportunity for gaining market share in the US market. In 2012, Kraft Foods announced a restructuring. It separated its North American grocery food business from its fast-growing global snack food and candy business, including Oreos and Cadbury chocolate, which is now Mondelez International.
Larger firms such as Cisco, Siemens, and Microsoft often engage in serial acquisitions to maintain a window on the latest technology developments. These companies acquire small startups not only to gain access to a new capability or competency, but also to preempt rivals from doing so. Let's look at the acquisitions made some of the leading internet companies, such as Google, Facebook, and Yahoo. Google, the leader in online search and advertisement, engage in a number of smaller acquisitions of tech ventures to fill gaps in its competency lineup. So in 2006, Google bought YouTube, the video sharing website, for $1.65 billion, also motivated by the desire to gain a new capability. Facebook acquired Instagram, a photo and video sharing social media site, for $1 billion in 2012. So likewise, Yahoo is attempting to fill a gap in its social networking capabilities by acquiring Tumblr for $1.1 billion in 2013. In 2013, Google purchased the Israeli startup company Waze for $1 billion. Google acquired Waze to gain access to new capabilities and to prevent rivals from gaining access. Waze's claim to fame is its interactive mobile map app. Google is already the leader in online maps and wanted to extend this capability to mobile devices. Perhaps even more importantly, Google's intent was to preempt its competitors, Apple and Facebook, from buying Waze. Apple and Facebook are each comparatively weaker than Google in the increasingly important interactive mobile map and information services segment. Google engaged in somewhat larger acquisition when it bought Motorola's cell phone unit for $12.5 billion in 2011. This was done to gain access to Motorola's valuable patent holdings in mobile technology. The Motorola acquisition also enables Google to integrate hardware and software, or Android OS, more seamlessly. In turn, this positioned Google better to compete with Apple and Samsung in mobile devices. Merge and acquisition and competitive advantage. Do mergers and acquisition create competitive advantage? Despite their popularity, the answer, surprisingly, is that in the most cases they do not. In fact, the merge and acquisition performance track record is rather mixed. Most mergers destroy shareholder value because the anticipated synergies never materialize. If there is any value creation, it generally accrues to the shareholders of the firm that was taken over the acquiree, because acquirers often pay a premium when buying the target company. Indeed, sometimes companies get involved in a bidding war for an acquisition. The winner may end up with a price but may have overpaid for the acquisition, thus falling victim to the winner's curse. Given the merger's acquisition on overage, destroy rather than create shareholder value, why do we see so many mergers? So there are three reasons. The first one is the principal agent problems. So principal agent problems. When discussing diversification in the previous chapter, we noted that some firms diversify through acquisitions to the principal agent problems. Managers, as agents, are supposed to act in the best interest of the principal, the shareholders. However, managers may have incentives to grow their firms through acquisitions, not for anticipated shareholders' value appreciation, but to build a larger empire, which is positively correlated with prestige, power, and pay. Besides providing higher compensation and more corporate perks, a larger organization may also provide more job security, especially if the company pursues unrelated diversification. So, number 2 is the desire to overcome competitive disadvantage. So, in some instances, mergers are not motivated by gaining competitive advantage, but by overcoming a competitive disadvantage. For example, to compete more successfully with Nike, the worldwide leader in sports shoes and apparel. Number 2 is Adidas, and number 3 is Reebok. for $3.8 billion in 2006. This acquisition allowed the now larger Adidas Group to benefit from economies for scale and scope that were unachievable when Adidas and Reebok operated independently. Overcoming its competitive disadvantage against Nike in turn strengthened Adidas' competitive position. Indeed, overcoming a competitive advantage may put an organization on road to gaining a competitive advantage. And the last is a superior acquisition and integration capability. Acquisition and integration capabilities are not equally distributed across firms, although there is strong evidence that mergers and acquisitions on average destroy rather than create shareholder value. It does not exclude the possibility that some firms are consistently able to identify, acquire, and integrate target companies to strengthen their competitive positions. Since it is valuable, rare, and difficult to imitate, a superior acquisition and integration capability, together with past experience, can lead to competitive advantage.
Strategic alliances. Why do firms enter strategic alliances? A company may enter into a strategic alliance to expand into a new market, improve its product line, or develop an edge over a competitor. The arrangement allows two businesses to work toward a common goal that will benefit both. What is strategic alliances? Strategic alliances are voluntary arrangements between firms that involve the sharing of knowledge, resources, and capabilities with the intent of developing processes, products, or services. In other words, these arrangements between two companies to undertake a mutual beneficial project while each retain its dependence. The arrangement is less complex and less binding than a joint venture in which two businesses pool resources to create a separate business entity. For example, the alliance between Spotify and Uber. These two companies, through this alliance, increasing their customer base as they offer Uber riders to take control of the stereo. In this way, both companies are getting an edge over their competitors. Customers of Spotify can play their favorite playlists while riding in the Uber by getting the premium package of Spotify. The use of strategic alliances to implement corporate strategy has exploded since the 1980s, with thousands forming each year. Strategic alliances may join complementary parts of a firm's value chain, such as R&D and marketing, or they may focus on joining the same value chain activities. Strategic alliances are attractive because they enable firms to achieve goals faster and at lower cost than going it alone. Globalization has also contributed to an increase in cross-border strategic alliances. The strategic alliance has the potential to help a firm gain and sustain a competitive advantage when it joins together resources and knowledge. To build a successful strategic alliances, first, identify the right partners, do the research, and then set shared objectives that are achievable for your partners. Next, the focus of competitive advantage is often not found within the individual firm, but within a strategic partnership. According to the relational view of competitive advantage, the strategic management framework that purposes that critical resources and capabilities frequently are embedded in its strategic alliances that span firm boundaries. We know that the basis for competitive advantage is formed when a strategic alliances creates resource combinations that are valuable, rare, and difficult to imitate, and the alliance is organized appropriately to allow for value capture. In support of this perspective, over 80% of Fortune 1000 CEOs indicated in a recent survey that more than one quarter of their firm's revenues were derived from the strategic alliances. And there are companies using a strategic alliance. HP and DreamWorks Animation SKG created the Halo Collaboration Studio, which makes virtual communication possible around the globe. Halo's conferencing technology gives participants the vivid sense that they are in the same room. DreamWorks produced the computer-animated movie Shrek 2 using this new technology for its meeting. People with different creative skills, scriptwriters, computer animators, directors, though dispersed geographically, were able to participate as if in the same room, even seeing the work of each other's laptop. By the use of technology, enable faster decision-making, enhanced productivity, reduced or even eliminated travel time and expense, and increased job satisfaction. Neither HP nor DreamWorks would have been able to produce technology breakthrough alone. HP's alliance with DreamWorks Animation SKG enabled HP to compete head-on with Cisco's high-end video conference solution, Telepresence. Again, why do firms enter strategic alliances? Because to affect a firm's competitive advantage, an alliance must promise a positive effect on the firm's economic value creation through increasing value and or lowering cost. And there are some companies decided to form strategic global businesses for many reasons. One of the most important reasons is to gain access to another company's knowledge or resources. Companies can also decide to join forces to develop new products or to enter a market that neither could enter alone. There are 5 common reasons why firms enter alliances. They do so to strengthen competitive position, enter new markets, hedge against uncertainty, access critical complementary assets, and learn new capabilities. First, strengthen competitive position. Firms can use strategic alliances to change the industry structure in their favor. They may also initiate these alliances within themselves to challenge market leaders and thus change the underlying market structure. To strengthen your competitive advantage, you need to find a unique marketing angle that propels your company above the rest. Convincing people your business offers something the others don't is a daunting task. Businesses which are almost identical in pricing and quality to their competitors often struggle to stand out. Many never find the unique angle or hook needed to take them to the next level. Strategic alliances to challenge Amazon. In 2007, Amazon established its Kindle device as the dominant e-reader by offering content, ebooks, newspaper, and magazines. Kindle users paid $9.99 for ebooks, including new releases and the New York Times bestsellers. Amazon's lost money on each ebook sold because it had to pay publishers between $12.99 and $14.99 per ebook. Apple crafted a different ebook business model. To attack Amazon's stronghold, Apple orchestrated a web of strategic alliances with major publishing houses. These alliances aided Apple in populating its iBook store with much needed content for iPad when it launched in 2010. Publishers set retail prices, and Apple would take a 30% cut. Their alliances with Apple also gave the publishers much needed leverage in negotiations with Amazon. And Amazon reluctantly changed its ebook pricing strategy and now charges between $12.99 and $14.99 for some new releases. And the U.S. Department of Justice suspected collusion between Apple and the book publishers. That's why Amazon's market share in the ebook readers has dropped from 90 to 60%. And in July 2013, a federal judge rules that Apple colluded with 2 major publishers to drive up prices of ebooks. And the last topic that I have is entering new markets. Firms can use strategic alliances to enter new markets, either in terms of geography or products and services. It is a planned distribution and delivery method of goods or services to a new target market. In the import and export of services, it refers to the creation, establishment, and even the management of contracts in a foreign country. In some instances, governments such as Saudi Arabia or China may require that foreign firms have a local joint venture partner before doing business in their countries. These cross-border strategic alliances have both benefits and risks. While the foreign firm can benefit from local expertise and contacts, it is exposed to the risk that some of its proprietary know-how may be appropriated by the foreign partner.
So proceed tayo. From the entering new markets, sabi doon na firms can use strategic alliance to enter new markets either in terms of geographic or products and services. So dito Microsoft, Microsoft, though the leader in PC-based software, has been struggling for years to gain a foothold in the online search and advertising market. In 2018, Yahoo's co-founder and CEO Jerry Yang revamped Microsoft $48 billion acquisition bid for Yahoo, and Microsoft was able to get much better deal through a subsequent strategic alliance. In early 2019, Yahoo appointed Carol Bartz as its new CEO. So Yahoo and Microsoft form a partnership through which Yahoo Search are powered by Microsoft Search Engine Bing. So kung familiar kayo, Bing is kind of Google, parang yung Google na, Google Chrome, Firefox, yan. So internet, ganyan. So siya, ganun din, software siya, para siyang internet. So, yan. Microsoft can strengthen its competitive position against Google's dominance. In the end, strategic alliance was low-cost alternative to an acquisition for Microsoft. But why did Yahoo agree to the deal? So, it entered this alliance because it had not generated the cash flow. As a consequence of the lack of adequate cash flow, Yahoo suffered years of competitive disadvantage. Yahoo also threw a number of CEOs. In 2011, Carl Bartz was let go. In 2012, Yahoo appointed Marissa Mayer as CEO. When departing for Yahoo, Marissa Mayer was a vice president at Google. So ito yung mga history from yung mga matataas sa Google. So hedge against uncertainty in dynamic markets, strategic alliances allow firms to limit their exposure to uncertainty in the market. A real option perspective to strategic decision making breaks down the larger investment decisions, such as whether to enter technology or not, into a set of smaller decisions that are staged sequentially over time. So in 1990, the Swiss pharma company Roche initially invested $2.1 billion an equity alliance to purchase a controlling interest less than 50% in the biotech startup Genentech. So in 2019, after witnessing the success of Genentech during discovery to develop project in subsequent years, Roche spent $47 billion to purchase the remaining minority interest in Genentech, making it wholly owned subsidiary. So access critical complementary assets. The successful commercialization of new product or service often requires complementary assets assets such as marketing, manufacture, and after-sales service. So new firms are in need of complementary asset to completed the value chain from upstream innovation to downstream commercialization. This implies that a new venture that has core competency in R&D. So strategic alliance allow firm to match complementary skills and resources to complete the value chain. Learn new capabilities. So firms enter strategic alliance because they are motivated by the desire to learn new capabilities from their partners. When the collaboration firms are also competitors, competitions ensues. So competitions is permeates describing cooperation by the competitors. So they may cooperate to create larger pie, but then might compete about how the pie should be divided. Such competition can lead to learning races in strategic alliance. So learning races naman is a situation in which both partners are motivated to form an alliance for learning, but the rate at which the firms learn may vary. So the firm that accomplish its goal more quickly has an incentive to exceed the alliance or reduce its sharing. So learn new capabilities. NUMMI, New United Motor Manufacturing Inc., GM, and Toyota. So dito, from here, matututo tayo ng mga bagong, yun nga yung mga bagong capabilities sa New United Motor Manufacturing Incorporation, GM and Toyota. Was the first joint venture in the U.S. automobile industry formed between GM and Toyota in 1984. So in the NUMMI joint ventures, each partner was motivated to learn new capabilities, such as GM entered the strategic alliance to learn the lean manufacturing system pioneered by Toyota. Toyota naman is entered the alliance to learn how to implement its lean manufacturing program with an American workforce. So the joint venture between GM and Toyota has been seen as a learning race. So who won? So strategic scholar argue that Toyota faster its accomplishing its alliance goal, learning how to manage US labor because of its limited scope. Toyota had already perfected lean manufacturing. So on the other hand, GM had to learn a completely new production system, newly created Southern brand. So in sum, alliance formation is frequently motivated by leveraging economies of scale, scope, specialization, and learning. So, sino yung nanalo nga between GM and Toyota? So, the factors suggest that Toyota won the learning race with GM, which in turn helped Toyota gain and sustain a competitive advantage over GM in the US market. So in sum, alliance formation is frequently motivated by leveraging economies of scale, scope, specialization, and learning.
Strategy scholars find that CVC investment have a positive impact on value creation for the investing firm, especially in high-tech industries such as semiconductors, computing, and medical service sectors. Equity alliances are frequently stepping stones toward full integration of the partner firms either through a merger or an acquisition. Equity alliances tend to produce stronger ties and greater trust between partners na masigit sa magagawa ng non-equity alliances. The downside of equity alliances is the amount of investment that can be involved as well as a possible lack of flexibility and speed in putting together the partnership. Equity alliances are alliances that are connected sa shareholding at isa sa form ng equity alliance ay ang joint ventures. Joint ventures, stand-alone organization created and jointly owned two or more parent companies. Exchange of both explicit and tacit knowledge through interaction of personnel is typical, frequently used to enter foreign markets where host country requires such partnership. Strong ties, trust and commitment, they can entail long negotiations and significant investments. Further risk is that knowledge shared with new partner could be misappropriated by opportunistic behavior. Rewards from joint venture collaboration must be shared between the partners. So all in all, joint venture involves two or more businesses that shared risk and rewards of an enterprise. This is to achieve their particular goal. We have these non-equity alliances which aimed at achieving a common objective by coordinating efforts and retains its organizational independence. So explicit knowledge is a process in which you can easily share or transmit ideas to others. Samantalang ang equity alliance exists when the company purchases equity in another business. And tacit knowledge are the process of transmitting knowledge through writing down and verbalizing it. So corporate venture capital or CVC, equity investment by established firms in entrepreneurial ventures, CVC falls under the broader rubric of equity alliances. Because the objective of the CVC is to primarily increase the sales and profits of the corporation's own businesses. While alliance management capabilities' goal is to provide a framework that facilitates strategic trade-offs. First, the partner selection and alliance formation. It influences the mix of resources and capabilities which will be available to alliance. Second, alliance design and governance, which the factor used to influence their stability. Third, the post-formation alliance management, and in this process, the partners must share an information about the alliance's progress and assess its performance.
Good day, everyone. My name is Alminia Sherilyn L. from BSBA 3C. The topic that I will discuss is about strategic alliances, governing strategic alliances, and alliance management capability. Governing strategic alliances has three parts. First, non-equity alliances. Second, equity alliances. The last one is joint ventures. First, let's tackle about non-equity alliances. Non-equity alliances is the most common type of alliances, which is based on contracts between firms. Supply agreements, distribution agreements, and licensing agreements. These contractual agreements are vertical strategic alliances connecting different parts of industry value chain. In a non-equity alliance, firms tend to share explicit knowledge that can be codified. Patents, user manuals, fact sheets, and scientific publications are all ways to capture explicit knowledge, which concerns the notion of knowing about a certain process or product. Licensing agreements are contractual alliances in which the participants regularly exchange codified knowledge. This partnership was an example of vertical strategic alliance. One partner, Genitech, was positioned upstream in the industry value chain focusing on R&D, while the other partner, Eli Lilly, was positioned downstream focusing on manufacturing and distribution. This type of vertical arrangement is often described as a handoff from the upstream partner to the downstream partner, and is possible because the underlying knowledge is largely explicit and can be easily codified. The biotech firm Genitech license is newly developed drug Humulin or human insulin to the pharmaceutical firm Eli Lilly for manufacturing, facilitating approval by the Food and Drug Administration. Because of their contractual nature, non-equity alliances are flexible and easy to initiate and terminate. However, because they can be temporary in nature, they are also sometimes produce weak ties between the alliance partners, which can result in lack of trust and commitment. Equity alliances. In an equity alliance, at least one partner takes partial ownership in the other partner. Equity alliances are less common than contractual non-equity alliances because they often require larger investments. Because they are based on partial ownership rather than contracts, equity alliances are used to signal stronger commitments. Moreover, equity alliances allow for the sharing of tacit knowledge, knowledge that cannot be codified. Tacit knowledge concerns knowing how to do a certain task. It can be acquired only through actively participating in the process. In an equity alliances, therefore, the partners frequently exchange personnel to make an acquisition to tacit knowledge. In non-equity alliances, they share a explicit knowledge that can be codified, while in equity alliances, they share tacit knowledge that cannot be codified. Toyota Tesla Motors Equity Alliance. Toyota is using an equity alliance with Tesla Motors, a designer and developer of electric cars, to learn new knowledge and gain a window into new technology. In 2010, Toyota made a $50 million equity investment in the California startup company. In the same year, Tesla Motors purchased the NUUMI plant in Fremont, California, where it now manufactures its Model S sedan. Another governance mechanism that falls under the broad rubric of equity alliance is corporate venture capital, or CVC investments, which are equity investments by established firms in entrepreneurial ventures. The value of CVC investment is estimated to be in the double-digit billion-dollar range each year. Larger firms frequently have dedicated CVC units such as Dow Venture Capital, Siemens Venture Capital, Kaiser Permanente Ventures, and Johnson & Johnson Develop Corporation. Strategy scholars find that CVC investments have a positive impact on value creation for the investing firm, especially in high-tech industries such as semiconductors, computing, and the medical device sector. Taken together, equity alliances tend to produce stronger ties and greater trust between partners than non-equity alliances do. Equity alliances are frequently stepping stones toward full integration of the partner firms, either through a merger or an acquisition. Essentially, they are often used a try before you buy strategic option. The downside of equity alliances is the amount of investment that can be involved, as well as possible lack of flexibility and speed in putting together the partnership. The last one is joint ventures. A joint venture, or JV, is a standalone organization created and jointly owned by two or more parent companies. For example, Hulu is jointly owned by NBC, ABC, and Fox. Since partners contribute equity to a joint venture, they are making a long-term commitment. Exchange of both explicit and tacit knowledge through interaction of personnel is typical. Joint ventures are also frequently used to enter foreign markets where the host country requires such as partnership to gain access to the market in exchange for advanced technology and know-how. Joint ventures are the least common of the three types of strategic alliances. Strong ties, trust, and commitment are the advantages of joint ventures. However, they can entail long negotiation and significant investments. A further risk is that knowledge shared with the new partner could be misappropriated by opportunistic behavior. Rewards from joint venture collaboration must be shared between the partners. Take note, non-equity alliance, partnership based on contracts between firms. The most frequent forms are supply agreements, distribution agreements, and licensing agreements. And explicit knowledge, knowledge that can be codified. In equity alliance, partnership in which at least one partner takes partial ownership in the other. Tacit knowledge, knowledge that can be codified. Equity investment by established firms is entrepreneurial ventures. CVC falls under the broader rubric of equity alliances. Last one is joint venture. Joint venture is a standalone organization created and jointly owned by two or more parent companies. That would be all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, my name is Micaela Torres from BSBA 3C. My topic today is Alliance Management Capability. Strategic alliance create a paradox for managers. Although alliances appear to be necessary to compete in many industries, between 30 and 70% of all strategic alliances do not deliver the expected benefits and are considered failures by at least one alliance partner. Given the high failure or at least disappointment rate, effective alliance management is critical to gaining and sustaining a competitive advantage, especially in high technology industries. Alliance management capability is a firm ability to effectively manage three alliance-related tasks concurrently, often across a portfolio of many different alliances. Alliance management capability have three under. First, partner selections and alliance formation. Second one is alliance design and governance. And third one is post-formation alliance management. Partner selection and alliance formation. When making the business case for an alliance, the expected benefits of the alliance must exceed its costs. When one or more as the 5 reasons for alliance formation are present to strengthen competition position, enter new markets, hedge against uncertainty, access critical complementary resources, or learn capabilities, the firm must select the best possible alliance partner. Partner selection and alliance formation have two. First, partner compatibility, and second one is partner commitment. So, partner compatibility and partner commitment are necessary condition for successful alliance formation. Partner compatibility capture aspect of cultural fit between different firms, while the partner commitment concern the willingness to make available necessary resources and to accept short-term sacrifice to ensure long-term reward. So, next one is alliance design and governance. Once or two or more firms agree to pursue an alliance, manager must then design alliance and choose appropriate governance mechanism from among these options. First is non-equity contractual agreement. Second one is equity alliances. And third one is joint venture. For example, in a study of over 640 alliances, researchers found that the joining of specialized complementary assets increased the likelihood that the alliance is governed hierarchically. This effect is stronger in the presence of uncertainty concerning the alliance partner as well as the environment task. In addition, the formal governance mechanism and organizational trust is a critical dimension of alliance success because all contracts are necessary. Incomplete trust between the alliance partner plays an important role for effective post-formation alliance management. Effective governance, therefore, can be accomplished only by skillfully combining formal and informal mechanism. Next is post-formation alliance management. The third phase is a firm alliance management capability concern the ongoing management of the alliance. To be a source of competitive advantage, the partnership needs to create a resource combination that obey the BRIO criteria. This can be most likely accomplished if the alliance partner make relation-specific investment, establish knowledge-sharing routines, and build inter-firm trust. How to make alliance work? Trust is a critical aspect of any alliance. Inter-firm trust entails the expectation that each alliance partner will behave in good faith and develop norms, reciprocity, and fairness. Such trust help ensure that the relationship survive and thereby increases the possible of meeting the intended goals of the alliance. Inter-firm trust is also important for past decision making. To accomplish effective alliance management, strategy scholars suggest that the firm create a dedicated alliance function led by a vice president or director of alliance management and endowed with its own resources and support staff. The dedicated alliance function should be given the task of coordinating all alliance-related activity in the entire organization. Taking a corporate-level perspective, it should serve as a repository of prior experience and be responsible for creating processes and structure to teach and leverage the experience and related knowledge throughout the rest of the organization across all levels. Research show that the firm with a dedicated alliance function are able to create value from their alliances above and beyond what could be expected based on experience alone. Next is pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly is an acknowledged leader in alliance management. Lilly Office of Alliance Management, led by a director and endowed with several managers, its far-flung alliance activity across hierarchical level and around the globe. Lilly process prescribed that each alliance is managed by a three-person team, an alliance champion, alliance leader, and alliance manager. Alliance champion is a senior corporate level and executive responsible for high-level support and oversight. This senior manager is also responsible for making sure that the alliance fits within the firm existing alliance portfolio and corporate-level strategy. Next one is the alliance leader. Has the technical expertise and knowledge needed for a specific technical area and is responsible for day-to-day management of the alliance. The third one is alliance manager. Position within the Office of Alliance Management, serve as an alliance process, resource, and business integrator between the two alliance partners and provides alliance training and development as well as diagnostic tools. Some companies are also able to leverage the relational capabilities obtained through managing alliance portfolio into a successful acquisition strategy. As detailed earlier, Eli Lilly is an entire department at the corporate level devoted to managing its alliance portfolio, following up an earlier 50-50 joint venture formed with IQOS, maker of the $1 billion plus erectile dysfunction drug Cialis. Lilly acquired IQOS in 2007. Rather than focusing on developing an alliance management capability in isolation, firms should develop a relational capability that allows for the successful management of both strategic alliance and merge and acquisitions. The business environment is constantly changing. New opportunities come and go quickly. Firms often need to develop new resources, capabilities, or competency to take advantage of opportunities. Strategy is also known that firms need to grow to survive and prosper, especially if they are publicly traded stock companies. A firm corporate strategy is critical in pursuing growth. To able to grow as well as gain and sustain a competitive advantage, a firm must not only possess BRIO resources but also be able to leverage existing resources and build new ones. The questions of how to build new resources, capabilities, and competencies to grow your enterprise lies at the center of corporate strategy. That's all. Thank you.